All right, it's time to go over our top 10 quarterbacks for week 13. Guys, we're getting right into the video here, going over CJ Stroud. This is the quarterback we all knew what he was about, right? He came into the NFL. He was my number one quarterback on the board. I was trying to tell you guys, but hey, it is what it is at this point. But he's putting up some really good numbers. He's got some receivers. Now that he has Nico Collins back in the fold, you're starting to see CJ Stroud get back to his old self, right? They're kind of ramping up for the NFL playoffs. But Nico Collins, he's amazing for CJ Stroud. He's putting up a lot of good fantasy points for you. Just look at what he's doing this week. He's going to be taking on a Jaguars defense ranks 32nd against opposing quarterbacks. We're talking about last cock-a-doodle in the NFL. Should absolutely torch this god-awful defense, and I think he's going to do it very well. It's going to be a lot of Nico Collins. You're going to have to Tank Dell out there. You never know. Dalton Schultz might get into the mix, and a ton of Joe Mixon to go on par with that. But I think CJ Stroud's a great opportunity. The reason why I don't have him a little bit higher going against this awful defense is that I think it's going to be a bigger running game than passing game, but I think it's going to be good enough for CJ Stroud to be a top 10 quarterback this week. So I had to put him in here into my top 10, but I love CJ Stroud. Excuse me. I think he gets a good opportunity to be the man, right? And he's going to show you guys that here in week 13. He's going to really show out against a Jaguars defense that really doesn't have any answer to CJ Stroud. I can't wait to see it. So let's move right along here. At number 9, we're going Jaden Daniels. And yes, I know I have Jaden Daniels a little lower in my rankings, and maybe some may have him in their rankings. But against this Tennessee Titans defense that I don't think is as bad as what people really think they are. I mean, Tennessee Titans, they're really good against their wide receivers. Jaden Daniels is going to have a good enough floor because of his rushing ability. Like I said, they are taking on the Tennessee Titans defense right now. They rank 21st against opposing quarterbacks. Even against a decent defense, though, Jason Daniels will still soar. He's still going to be doing well. And like I said, it's because of how high his floor is, because of his rushing ability. He may not have, 350 yards passing, but he's going to have just enough to keep him in the top 10 as far as our quarterbacks go. If you have Jaden Daniels, you're not sitting him. Again, this isn't like a ferocious defense or anything, but I just call it a hunch, right? That he may not be towards the top echelon of the top 5 this week in week 13. Might have a little bit more of a difficult task against the Tennessee Titans defense. So let's move right along here. Coming here at number 8, we're going Bo Nix, right? Bo Nix is consistently starting to get into my top 10 quite well. He's doing good, right? I don't know if it's a little bit of Sean Payton. Maybe he was a little bit more mature coming into the NFL, more NFL ready, I would probably say. But I mean, he's doing really good and really lighting up some of these defenses and putting up solid fantasy numbers for you. This week, they are taking on a Browns defense that ranks 16th against opposing quarterbacks. He's playing out of his mind right now, right? His consistency. He's not making a lot of mistakes. He has a high completion percentage. He's doing all the correct things. And you should say maybe Drew Brees-esque at this point. He's really, really showing out. And I'm loving watching this guy play. I mean, you can get, 20 plus completions in a game as a rookie. That's phenomenal. And, just fantasy points alone, if you get the ball in some receivers' hands, just make your playmakers make plays. And that's what he's doing. And he's doing a phenomenal job being able to move the ball up and down the field. Has a good rapport with Cortland Sutton. He's doing really well, as you see him do week in and week out. They're putting it together. The pieces are coming together, and I'm telling you, if you guys used a late round or ended up picking Bo Nix up at the waiver wire, he's really shining for you now. Going into your fantasy football playoffs, he's your starting quarterback now. There's only a few quarterbacks that I would start over Bo Nix at this point. That's why I have him at number 8 in my top 10 list here for week 13. So move right along here. We're coming here at number 7. We're going Joe Burrow, kind of an old faithful at this point. Tough matchup this week, but I think because it's a divisional matchup, because it's something's going to be a lot of back and forth, I think that Joe Burrow, just in general, will be having a lot of passing yards and a lot of fantasy points for you in this week. They're going to need to be able to throw the football quite a bit early and often. I think they're going to make it happen, but they are taking on a Steelers defense right now that ranks first against opposing quarterbacks. But like I said, divisional game, it promises to be an absolute slugfest back and forth. This is almost like you see a lot of divisional games this week. It must be like divisional week or something, the way the schedule kind of panned out. But I mean, anytime you see Joe Burrow going against any one of his divisional foes, you see him kind of step up to the plate. He's ready to go out there, throw as many yards as he needs to try to get his team to win. Unfortunately, his team hasn't been winning, and it hasn't been Joe Burrow's fault. But as far as fantasy football goes, we want to know about the player, how they're doing. It doesn't matter if the team wins or loses. We want to know, is he going to be put up a lot of stats? Joe Burrow's doing that consistently. He's putting up tons. We're talking about even 400 yards passing in some of these games when he's playing against the Ravens and such. So he's doing really well. Get the guy into your lineup. Week 13, I think he's going to have a great game. Put him into your lineup. Don't worry about it that it says number 1 defense. He's still going to get his yardage. So Coming in here at number 6, we're going Patrick Mahomes, kind of being the old Patty Mahomes, as we all thought, right? Beginning of the season, didn't really look really well, but he's starting to ramp up. You know, I kind of almost was alluding to this at the beginning where I say, look, at the beginning of the season, don't look for Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce to really be doing much, but as it gets towards the mid-season into the late season, ramping up into the NFL playoffs, they're going to start using these guys even more. They was kind of saving them at the beginning, but now you're starting to see some really good numbers put out. There was a really close game last week against Carolina Panthers. I don't think it's going to be that close this week, and they're going there to another division rival. They are taking on a Raiders defense that ranks 25th against opposing quarterbacks. Mahomes really does like smashing the Raiders. I don't know if it's because it's a divisional matchup or whatever the case is. He just likes to go in there and says, yo, bang, I'm going to get you right now. And I'm just telling you, this is going to be a good one. They don't have a quarterback on the other side. Aiden O'Connell really isn't going to get the job done. So I'm looking for Patrick Mahomes to take advantage of this. There's going to be a lot of 3 and outs on the Raiders. I think the Chiefs are going to have the ball a lot. The time of possession is going to be absolutely crazy for the Chiefs. And when a lot of time of possessions happen for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes is probably going to have himself a phenomenal fantasy game. That's why I got him here at number 6 for me. Moving right along here at number 5, we're going Baker Mayfield, right? Mayfield is doing phenomenal. He was doing good not only when Chris Godwin, but Mike Evans is out. He did great, still throwing 300 yards in a game. Now I got Mike Evans back, looking even better. And again, a divisional matchup. I think they're going to go out there. They had a nice solid win last week, a really big win last week, I should say. And I'm telling you, it's going to get even better this week as they take on a Carolina Panthers defense that ranks 27th against opposing quarterbacks. There's no chance for Carolina to slow down Mayfield this week. I would say not only just slowing him down, but stopping them. They're not going to do any of that, right? So I think Baker Mayfield comes out there and scores a ton of fantasy points for you. Look for Mike Evans to get involved quite a bit. I like Bucky Irvin and what he's doing in the backfield, doing really, really good stuff. So I think Baker Mayfield, a solid production as far as the quarterback goes. That's why I put him in here as the top 5 quarterback for me. We're right along here at number 4. We're going Josh Allen, right? This is a quarterback that has such a high floor just based on his rushing ability. And he's showing us, right? He didn't need all those plethora of receivers. Goodbye, Stephon Diggs. Goodbye, Gabe Davis. I got guys like Dalton Kincaid out here and Keon Coleman, Amari Cooper, you know, Khalil Shakir, you know, Curtis Samuel. You've got all the pieces that I need to be successful in the NFL, and he's shown us, right? Even after as they went over there and they beat the Chiefs. So I just like what I see from Josh Allen. This week they do take on a 49ers defense that ranks 9th against opposing quarterbacks. He looks to continue the train on the winning ways, right? They want to keep on keeping on, I guess what they would say, right? They want to keep going into the NFL playoffs on a high note. So they want to be able to win some of these big games, right? Win against the Chiefs, win against the 49ers. That would be really nice for them to have on their resume going into the playoffs, giving them a lot of more confidence. But as far as fantasy football goes, Josh Allen he's always a part of the cream of the crop each and every week. Like I said, he has such a high floor just based on his rushing ability alone. And now that his wide receivers, he's starting to build more rapport, more fantasy points week in and week out. Get Josh Allen into your lineup. Another surprising guy here at number 3, we're going Justin Herbert. The dude is just playing bonkers right now, and I love to see this guy just sit there and put that tight spiral on the ball and just put it everywhere, right? Lad McConkey's looking really good. Quentin Johnson has stepped up. The team is starting to look a lot better. This week they are taking on a Falcons defense that ranks 26th against opposing quarterbacks. He's putting up God-tier numbers right now, as I was saying. It's phenomenal. You don't really look at Justin Herbert this season and maybe even the last part of last season and say, man, he's kind of fallen off a little bit. No, he's picking it up. He's ready. And who knows? Could he will his team to go to the playoffs, right? J.K. Dobbins playing out of his mind. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going well for this team. I think in the offseason, add themselves a tight end next year, you could really see them going absolutely bonkers. So I do like Justin Herbert here for week 13. I think he puts up a solid stat line for you and getting up a lot of fantasy points. I love it. Get Justin Herbert into your lineup. So moving here at number 2, we're going Lamar Jackson, one of the most electric players in fantasy football right now. He's doing a lot of things, right? Even when now that, like I say all the time, now that Derrick Henry's kind of getting involved, getting that motor going, it's just really hard to stop Lamar Jackson at this point. He can pretty much do whatever he wants. And this is going to be a huge matchup this week. They are taking on the Eagles defense that ranks 5th against opposing quarterbacks. And it should be a very competitive game. And the thing about Lamar Jackson, even if they're going against a top 5 defense, it doesn't matter, right? Because in my eyes, the rushing ability, the floor, the electricity, the offense, the way it runs, you know, with Zay Flowers out there, Deontay Johnson, you got Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Derrick Henry, a lot of pieces to this offense. There's a lot of avenues for fantasy points for Lamar Jackson. And even against a big team like the Eagles, they're going to need Lamar Jackson to step up. So I think fantasy points will be there here for week 13, even though they're going against a solid defense in the Eagles. get Lamar Jackson in your lineup. Don't be afraid to put him into your lineups this week. You're never benching Lamar Jackson anyway. Let's just face it. Call a spade a spade. At number 1, we're going, who else, right? We're going Jalen Hurts. There's nobody else that you could really put into this lineup right now. He's consistently putting up some solid fantasy numbers right now. Love what I'm doing. And like I said, they're playing in this big, tough matchup, right? They are taking on the Ravens defense that ranks 28th against opposing quarterbacks. Should be plenty of fantasy points on both sides. And against a defense that's really not stopping anyone down deep. They're really good against the tight end position, but that's probably about it. So I think Jalen Hurts is going to get a lot of passing plays here. AJ Brown should have an absolute bonkers game. You know, you got Saquon Barkley in the back, and he always does his thing. The Eagles are clicking on all cylinders, and they're clicking on the cylinders at the right time heading into the NFL playoffs, which is boding well for you as a fantasy owner. If you took the shot at Saquon Barkley to be your #1 running back for your roster, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I love myself some I like Saquon Barkley too, but I like myself some Jalen Hurts. Get the guy in your lineup, easily #1 for me here in week 13. But that is my top 10 quarterbacks, guys, for week 13. Make sure you guys leave a comment down below. Is there any quarterbacks that I didn't put in my top 10 that you believe should be in the top 10? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Helps out the channel tremendously. We're pumping out so many videos each and every week to help you best set the best lineup possible and to ultimately win a championship. I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.